24 hours removed from a legend calling it a career, and on a night where Major League Baseball saved their season, we welcome you to this very special edition of Ridiculously Raw Championship Monday. Hello, friends. I am your ridiculously over good brother, Anthony Florio, as always, joined by good old MF Michael Fletcher, the phenom Michael Bullock, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel Dee Woodson. So much to get into this evening. Now, granted, this show was not a rousing success. Let's not kid ourselves. This was not a rousing success, but compared to last week, it was definitely a better show. There's no doubt about that. So, with all that being said, let's dive on in. And we started it off with an in-ring segment with the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, and he was interrupted by an old friend, a former Raw Tag Team Championship partner, Dolph Ziggler. Yes, Dolph Ziggler is back on Monday Night Raw. He was one of the future considerations. Well, one of three future considerations. We thought it was two, but there's actually three. Dolph Ziggler, we knew about. Mustafa Ali, we knew about. But we didn't know about Robert Roode. Robert Roode, the glorious one. He's going to be back on Monday nights as well. But anyway, it was Ziggler and McIntyre. They cut a promo, and Ziggler, he didn't hold back. He came right out and said it. I want a WWE title match. And Drew McIntyre, being the champion he is, he says, all right, it's official. At Extreme Rules, it'll be Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE Championship. So I guess we found our next challenger of the month here. I got to say kudos to the creative team for taking two guys with history, exploiting it, and setting up a sensible pay-per-view bout. It'll be interesting to see if management puts the amount of effort into rebuilding Ziggler's character as it did Bobby Lashley's, making him a credible threat to McIntyre. While no one really believes the show-off will end McIntyre's title run, the match will likely be damn good and yet another reminder of how badly WWE has botched Ziggler's potential over the years. And for McIntyre, it represents yet another opportunity to have a fantastic match and further enhance what has already been a strong run of championship encounters in this, his first opportunity to carry the company and Monday Night Raw on his shoulders. So, all in all, this was a solid segment to start off this show here tonight. I'm definitely looking forward to the match. And say what you want about Dolph Ziggler. Michael Bullock and I, on many of our chats, we've gone on the record and we call them big girl panties and the whole 9 yards. But he can back it up. He can go when he's booked right. So, but I'm looking forward to it. Should be a great match. Of course, I think Drew will ultimately go over. So, and then we'll see what happens with him for SummerSlam and beyond. So, nothing more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, right on cue. Come on in. Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, WWE Championship match at Extreme Rules. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yes, I would definitely be very interested in a championship match between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. I think both men are really good. They're both proven to be proven commodities. And, the one good thing that we have going on right now is that Drew is getting opportunities to succeed as WWE champion. And up to this point, there was a few battles where we kind of were like, is this really the right guy to challenge? Is this the wrong guy? Ziggler right now would probably be, like you said, he's the du jour of the month more than anything else. But he is a worthy opponent, a former champion in his own right. And I cannot disagree or deny the fact that I think he would be a very interesting competitor to be challenging for the WWE title. So this is going to be a very insightful match. I don't think there's going to be much to say, but at the end of the day, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. So, yeah, Michael Bullock, this was a very solid way to start the show.
Yeah, this was definitely a solid way to start the show. I mean, I mean, like you said, I mean, two guys who know each other, once, of course, tag team champions on Raw, and like you said, Dolph Ziggler didn't hold back. He wants a title shot, Dolph, and Drew McIntyre said, "All right, it's gonna go down in Extreme Rules," and that'd be a match I'm interested in. I mean, it won't be anything special, but who knows? Maybe it could be a really good one. I mean, say what you want about Dolph Ziggler. I mean, yes, Florio and I, we call him big girl Danny, but look, the guy can back it up in the ring. So who knows? I mean, he could give Drew McIntyre a run for his money. So we'll just have to wait and see. So really, nothing more to say. Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, it was definitely a good way to open the show. Um, no, I'm not a big fan of watching Dolph Ziggler, getting a handout, which is kind of what this is, because I don't think he really has earned the title shot. But at the same time, it's going to be a good match anyway, because the last time these two faced each other, I thought it was pretty good. So we'll see what happens. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, and theme of the night here. Even though this was a championship Monday edition of the show, um, we had a lot of in-ring segments, and well, I don't know how we feel about this one. This is probably this might constitute a cutout here. We'll have to wait and see. Um, Nia Jax comes out and she basically threatens to hold Raw hostage until she got what she wanted, which was obviously a return match for the Raw Women's Championship after the controversy of last week when referee John Cone fast counted Nia Jax after Nia Jax shoved him. Um, but anyways, it was interrupted by R-Truth and the nonsense with him and Tozawa and the ninjas and all that. And then Charlotte Flair comes out and they get into it and I don't know where it happened, but it looked like Charlotte Flair was noticeably holding on to her left shoulder, and something came out of that. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I'm sure my panel wouldn't mind if I called this a cutout. So yes, I heard about the breaking news from Impact, and I will address that when we get to my Tony's take MF. Absolutely, but for right now, I think this should be constituted as a cutout because that was messy. I mean, if the goal was to set up an excuse for Charlotte maybe losing later in the night, why not just have Nia interfere like most assumed she would anyway? Sure, it's a change of pace, but this is the one situation where that old booking trope would work just fine. Throw in the truth and Tozawa nonsense that plagued it early, and this segment was mostly unnecessary and existed only to eat up some television time. Long story short, the password is filler. So that's what it was.
Agreed on the filler thing, but I'm glad WWE went down this route on Nia and Charlotte to because of the fact that yes, it gives an out for what happens later in the night, but I think a lot of people would have been a lot more upset if Nia would have stuck her nose again in the women's title match. I think it would have done a major disservice than anything else. I mean, I think it was better that they did it this way because again, it protects Charlotte Flair. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of people kind of got lost in the whole thing. But, like we said, this was definitely filler more than anything else.
Indeed. So we're gonna hit the reset button on and MF will start off on our first actual match of the night, and it was the first of our championship matches. It was the Raw Tag Team Championship matchup. The champions, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, the Street Profits, defending against the challengers and former champions in their own right, Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, winner of the match in approximately 8 minutes and 40 seconds. The winners and still your Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. MF, solid way to start off the matches portion of the show.
Absolutely, and I'll even give this about 2.5 to 3 stars. This was a solid match, very good championship battle, and it was not a major surprise that the Profits won the titles or gets to keep the titles. I think they've been a very good tag team champions. I feel a damn shame because of the fact that they kind of relegated them to a comedy skit where they are so unique and so good that they could really explode. If you give them the opportunity, they're going to be a big-time they're big-time players in the tag team division. Now that Ziggler and Robert Roode is now on Monday Night Raw, you might want to keep a very close eye on that. They might be the next challengers in waiting. We haven't seen AOP in a long time. We don't even know if they're even back yet. Maybe Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy, or Buddy, could they be next in line? Could they get an opportunity? Right now, at the end of the day, there's a couple of teams that I could rattle off right now, especially on Monday Night Raw, that could be the next opportunity to get the title match. Other than that, I thought this was a nice... I hope this is the end of the rivalry between the Profits and the Viking Raiders. I think they just need to get away from each other now. At this point in the game, there's nothing more that they can do. You've done almost everything to the gambit. You know, you had your little competition of the week. We finally got the wrestling match. They Street Profits won. They won it clean, fair. It's done. They're gone. They don't have to worry about them ever again. There's no more threat for them. Now you can move on to the next team. And now the question is, who's the next team that's going to fight the Profits for the tag team titles? That's, I think, going to be the biggest hurdle that they're going to have to jump at now. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours. I give it 2.5 to 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars as well. I mean, it was a good match. I mean, yeah, and I'm in agreement with Fletch. I mean, I hope that this is the end of this and they can move on to bigger and better things. The Street Profits and Fletch. I think you forgot to mention something. I think we may have. I think we may have a team that could contend. I think it could be Angel Garza and Andrade after what they did after the match.
Yeah, but
I'm saying it could be.
It could. But remember what happened to them a couple of weeks ago. Remember the major brouhaha that led Selena to hit the deck. Trust me. I mean, can they stay cohesive? Can they stay united? That's $1 million question that I would say. I would have, if they get the opportunity, that's fine. But I really got my doubts if they could actually pull it off and win the titles.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see if they do get that opportunity. So, really got nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Okay, I kind of got lost there for a minute. Where are we, guys?
The Raw Tag Team Championship match, Street Profits and the Viking Raiders.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give that about 3 stars. I mean, this wasn't bad. I mean, there was a lot of nonstop action going on here, but I just wish it wouldn't have taken so long to get to this point. So, yeah, I'm not gonna add too much more to it. So it's yours.
All right, fair enough. And yeah, for me, I agree. 2.5 to 3 stars. The match itself was hurt significantly by the commercial break. There was this explosive start to the bout, and when the show returned, an action-packed final stretch. Unfortunately, there was not enough in between to warrant a higher rating. It was just not the epic encounter we were expecting, given the weeks and weeks and weeks of build. With that said, it was still a fun sprint of a bout that saw the right team go over in what was hopefully the last time these two teams will do business for a bit. The introduction, to me, I kind of disagree when it comes to Andrade and Garza. I think the introduction of them as the next challengers is a perfect booking choice. Those impending matches will likely rule all and help rebuild a tag team division that became a bit too dependent on the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. So that's really all I can say on that. So 2.5 to 3, I 100% agree with the rating. So let's continue on here. The next big title match, the Raw Women's Championship on the line. Asuka defending against the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Winner of the match in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. And still the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka. Michael Bullock, we saw it on our Raw chat tonight. We saw Charlotte tap clean, and we were like, what? Did this really just happen?
Yeah, it really did happen. And there was a part of me that was thinking, oh no, Nia Jax is probably going to get involved here and ruin another good match between these two again. But no, we got a clean finish here. And I'm going to give this about 3.5 for the match here. I mean, this was a really good match. It's not the same as it was weeks ago, but it was still a good match, no doubt about it. So now the question is, what's next for Asuka? Well, we're gonna find out later on, but 3 to 3.5 is my rating. And yeah, I'm relieved that Asuka's still the champ, because if Charlotte had won it, the IWC would have pissed all over this one, and not in a good way. So that's all I'm going to say. Dee Whitson, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll go about 3 stars on it. It was an all right match, and we had Charlotte trying to play off of the fact that her arm was supposed to be hurt and everything, and I am happy that Nia did not get involved during the match, that we did have a clean match and everything. So there's not a whole lot I'm going to add to it. I mean, it looked good for what they did. So yeah, Charlotte did a good job, playing off the injury and making it look good. So it's yours, Florio.
To me, this was the fight of the night, no doubt about it. 3.5 stars for me. I mean, it was a double win. Clean finish. Nia didn't get involved, and Asuka finally got over on Charlotte, which I'm very surprised they didn't save that for a bigger stage. But I'm not sure about it. But for right now, Asuka and Charlotte are the 2 best wrestlers in the women's division, and their in-ring chemistry is wicked. Every time they share the ring, they threaten to steal the show out from underneath every other star on the card. That was almost certainly the case here, as they had a badass match full of transitions, counters, and reversals en route to Asuka's successful title defense. A match of this magnitude with a finish that saw Asuka finally get one over on Charlotte clean in the center of the ring. Like I said, I thought really needed to be saved for a major pay-per-view extravaganza like SummerSlam. But as it was, though, the match was still a damn good one, with a commercial right in the middle that prevented the rating from being even higher. But for right now, but then a post-match interview by my girl, the beautiful Charlie Caruso, with Nia Jax, insinuated that the irresistible force is not through with Charlotte, suggesting the Queen may provide just enough of a distraction to keep Jax away from Asuka for the time being. And especially after what happened later in the night, I think we all know what's going on here. So So really nothing more to say on this. To me, 3.5 stars, fight of the night. Well done. They killed it again. Nowhere near as good as the near 5-star they had 2 weeks ago that Nia ruined. But nothing more to say. MF, in your immortal, I know it's not a new champion, but in your immortal words and Gorilla's immortal words, history made. Asuka finally beats the queen.
She finally beats the queen. You can make an argument that maybe Charlotte not at 100% because of the fact of the beatdown earlier in the night with the altercation between her and Nia Jax. Maybe that's an out for Charlotte to make her say, hey, wait a minute. I deserve at least one more opportunity. I wasn't at 100%. You can't beat me at 100%. But Asuka got the win. She got a little bit of a measure of revenge from WrestleMania, a measure of revenge from what happened a couple of weeks ago. If it wasn't for the interference by Nia, it's a clean win for Asuka. She makes her tap out to the Asuka lock. There's really nothing more that you can add to that. It's a 3.5-star fight. I totally agree with everything you just said, Anthony Florio. It is somewhat of a damn shame that I'm going to openly admit this. If what happened 2 weeks ago would have happened tonight, this would have been a 5-star classic. This would have been the 5 stars we were begging and hoping and yelling for, because this was the outcome we were hoping 2 weeks ago that we never got. So at the end of the day, they did the right thing. This was a good finish. Asuka now moves on to her next challenger. Charlotte, it looks like Nia and her are going to go at it at Extreme Rules. So it's a win-win for Monday Night Raw. You got basically 2 women's matches that you can promote now on Raw for a little bit here. So you're going to have yourself a good situation coming up. So well done. Anthony, it's yours.
Indeed. So with that being said, then we had Edge with a vignette and addressing his future, and we don't know when it's going to happen, but apparently Edge wants another shot at Randy Orton, and we don't know when that's going to be. It depends on the severity of Edge's triceps injury, and all I can say is and then Randy Orton immediately after that promo, Charlie Caruso interviewed Randy Orton with his rebuttal. Another gem of a promo from Edge. And we're all ready for the rematch now. But unfortunately, it's going to be a long wait due to Edge's triceps injury. And then Charlotte was backstage, and Charlie Caruso approached her for an interview, and then Nia Jax laid out Charlotte, and that's all there is to say on that. And then the 24/7 silliness, R-Truth, Akira Tozawa. But before anything really got too out of hand, Bobby Lashley and MVP show up, and I never thought I'd say thank God for them, because you knew that was going to get out of control, and not in a good way. Lashley, lays out R-Truth, and it allowed Akira Tozawa to become the 24/7 champion. And I'm hopeful that with Bobby Lashley destroying the Ninjas, I'm hopeful that it means it'll be the end of this embarrassing chapter of very bad and campy sports entertainment comedy, if I do say so myself. Then we had another cutout here. We had Natalya swearing off against Liv Morgan. Natalya won the match in an even 2 minutes with the sharpshooter, but she didn't do it alone. She had help. Yes, Natalya apparently now has someone watching her back, and that someone happens to be Lana. Yes, Natalya and Lana have formed some sort of an alliance here. So be very interesting to see where that leads. But apparently Natty has turned heel again. So Natty and Lana. I guess we'll see where that pairing goes. But I get the feeling that they and Liv Morgan are spinning their wheels creatively. So nothing really more to say there. Then we had the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He came out, and before he got to the business at hand, which was coronating Randy Orton as the greatest performer of the day, he addressed what happened to his daughter, Charlotte Flair, and told Nia Jax that she's in a lot of trouble. You know that. So, but then Randy Orton comes out. He cuts the great promo about what he did to Edge and Christian. And then the Big Show shows up. And he had his rebuttal. And then Big Show wanted some, but Orton came out. And so what do you guys think? You guys want to address this? This segment with the Big Show and Randy Orton?
I mean, okay, I'm going to say this. Just off the cuff. I understand why Big Show is out there. Maybe, you know, because of how close that he is with Edge and Christian, and maybe because of the fact that Orton might have gone a little too far with what he did to Edge, what he did to Christian. And right now, I'm just going to openly admit this. I think Randy is being groomed to possibly be fighting very soon for the WWE title. Yes. I got a feeling he might be the next in line. Now, obviously, Drew's going to have a few challengers along the way, and they're going to want Drew to continue to get the rise and the run and the whole 9 yards. But guys, this is Legacy Orton. This is the age of Orton. This is the legend killer.
He's back.
He's back. He's sadistic. The punt kick. The vile nature. The sadistic snake. The apex predator. The Orton that I love. The one that probably everybody hates is back. He's more vicious, more sadistic, and Florio, I know you say 0 F's given, but trust me, there was one guy who was the true 0 F given before you took it, and that was me.
Yep.
Because I was sadistic, I was evil, I didn't give a you-know-what about anything or anyone. And trust me, I would have punted a few people's heads off if I had the chance. So,
vintage Big G.
This is Randy Orton in a nutshell, and that's fine. Big Slow, you can get your shot. You can get your opportunity. You're just going to fall to the 3 most devastating letters in WWE, the RKO. And Champ, buddy, you better shine that belt real nicely, bro. Because the Scottish psychopath is going to get his head punted off by the apex predator very soon. SummerSlam 2020. Damn, I wish it was in freaking Boston. Because it ain't going to happen. But this is where you better be watching your back, bro. There's a viper that's going to be lurking. And when the time is right, the suddenness of the 3 most devastating letters, and we're going to have a former WWE champion and the apex predator will once again ascend the throne as WWE champion.
Oh,
Done, Florio. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here.
Oh, you think so? You think so there, big boy, huh?
Oh, I'm pretty damn sure. They're grooming Orton for one more run. I'm pretty sure of it.
Oh, that would be a damn shame. That would be a damn shame. I do not want to see Drew McIntyre to have his incredible run, his great story come to an end that sudden. Ugh. I hope that's not true.
Well, we were saying that about Kofi Kingston, and how did that turn out?
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. So, you know what? It's not all about rainbows and unicorns and all this stuff and all glory and beauty and everything else.
I know.
Drew, no. And the thing is this. Drew had a great run. Drew was definitely worthy of the WWE Championship. He made me, I was a naysayer. I'll openly admit it.
Yeah, you
I
were.
didn't think he couldn't do it. And he's done an admirable job. But let's be realistic. When you're going up against one of the all-time greats, like Randy Orton, you honestly think for 1 second that belt doesn't have his name written all over it? Now, if Drew wins, alright, that's fine. Maybe they prolong the storyline. Maybe they're waiting for Edge to come back, and maybe they might do Orton versus Edge for the title. Give Edge the opportunity at the belt. You don't know. But one thing's for sure. Tick-tock, Mr. McIntyre. The clock and that sand in that hourglass, the time has started. And my clock is already giving me the time and the date that you're losing that belt.
And
Nothing more to say.
And you think it's going to be in the SummerSlam?
I think it could be SummerSlam. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But majority of the time, at least 8 or 9 times out of 10, I've been correct. I've been on quite a hot streak lately, Florio. I haven't gotten things wrong relatively lately. There was a couple of times where I've been wrong, but this is one I'm kind of got a good feeling about. Very strong feeling about. And it's not because of dirt sheets, because before anybody says this, there's no dirt sheets on this. There's no dirt sheets that says Orton's going to become a champion or something about it. But I sense something. I got like a sixth sense. Something, when the stars starts aligning, something happens. And all of a sudden, I don't know why, but it's going back to that sadistic Orton, that old school Randy Orton, and something is telling me Orton's going to become a champion very soon.
Fair enough. So, I think MF had pretty much to say for everybody. So, Didi said pass. So, I'm not sure if Bullock wants to get involved, but I'll say this though. This was some extraordinary promo work from both guys. Well, actually, no, that was the wrong thing there. Bear with me for a moment. Well, is the idea of Orton Big Show in 2020 appealing? Hell no. Is this the best Orton we've ever seen? Hell yes. Orton has hit a stride we have not seen from him since 2011. Not only is his ring work superb, but his mic work is also better. And this is where I'm going to sing his praises, MF. He is more focused, smarter, and more thought-provoking from an overall standpoint than ever before. His attention to details and devotion to the little things have elevated him to a level everyone thought he could achieve, but many gave up on over the years, with the exception of MF, of course. He has always had the potential, but the effort was often called into question. The effort is there now, and if you don't believe it, rewatch this segment the second it hits YouTube and appreciate the fact that he made a Big Show segment some 21 years after the Giants' debut in WWE interesting. So that's really all there is to say on that. So, Didi said pass. Bullock, did you want to give a quick thought, or do you just want to move on? It's okay. You don't have to.
Well, I think Fletch pretty much touched on it for everybody, so I say let's just move on.
All right, fair enough. And we're going to move on to our final title match of the evening. The Women's Tag Team Championships on the line. And if you thought MF was Cheshire Cat grinning like he was before, well, he's about to be doing so even morely. His girls from SmackDown, the Boss Sasha Banks and Bayley Dos Straps, the SmackDown Women's Champion, and the other half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, Bayley. They defended against the challengers and former champions in their own right, the Iconics, the Femme Fatale, Billie Kay, and Peyton Royce. Winners of the match in an even 7 minutes, and still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Bayley Dos Straps, and the Boss Sasha Banks. But wait, there's more. Sasha Banks got into Bayley's face, and for a moment, when she said, "I want a title shot," we thought she was finally going to go after Bayley, and we were going to finally get the implosion. No. And MF is probably going to be grinning from ear to ear right about now when I say what happens here. Sasha Banks calls out Asuka, and she wants the Raw Women's Championship. And guess what, folks? It's going to happen. At Extreme Rules, Sasha Banks will challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And think about this. If Sasha wins, she becomes Sasha Dos Straps as well. Dee Woodson, what do you make of all this?
Well, we did get to see, the jealousy kind of rear its ugly head tonight, but, the outcome was a little different than what I think most people thought it was going to be, because I think most people thought, okay, we're leading into Bayley versus Sasha. No, we're leading into Sasha versus Asuka. So, yeah, that right there alone, just very interesting turn of events there. Beginning of the match, of course, Bayley, again threw Sasha under the bus, starting to wonder when she's going to actually open her eyes and actually see it. Like I said, a lot of people thought, tonight would have been the night when she, gave her little speech at the end, but it didn't happen. Both teams, very well done. I'm going to give it 2.5 to 3 stars. Good match. Segment at the end, very surprising, but I kind of look forward to seeing what's going to happen between Asuka and Sasha and see just how this is going to play out. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. Technically, both of these teams are heels. I mean, we didn't have a clue which heel team they wanted the viewers to root for during the tag title match, but Bullock and I were and yes, and I mean this. Bullock and I during our Raw chat, we said that we were both rooting for the Iconics. Even Bullock was. Well, me especially, because they're Raw girls, and I really wanted to have the women's tag team titles back on Raw. But unfortunately, that did not happen as Bayley and Sasha get it done. The match itself, like so many of the other title bouts on this show, was hurt significantly by the commercial break timing. Most of the match happened during the timeout, and the result was a match of no substance. So I'm going to give it only 2.5 stars. I think that's the correct rating, Dee. Banks teasing the showdown with Bayley was a nice bit of foreshadowing, particularly after the ill-timed miscommunication spots, while her match with Asuka is likely to be all sorts of awesome. That's enough to rescue the entire segment from a subpar rating. And the post-match angle, really well done, with Banks teasing that she would finally challenge Bayley. Asuka Banks should be a really good match, and I'm genuinely surprised that they're not going with Asuka versus Jax or Asuka versus Jax versus Charlotte in a triple threat at Extreme Rules. So they could be setting up another big women's match here. I mean, God forbid Sasha Banks wins this. We're going to have 2 double champions. We're going to have Bayley as the SmackDown Women's Champion and one half of the Tag Team Champions. And Sasha Banks could end up becoming a 5-time Raw Women's Champion and the other half of the Tag Team Champions and exclusive to SmackDown. The Raw Women's title would then become exclusive to Friday Night SmackDown. And MF is salivating like the viper, the cerebral viper that he is. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say.
And imagine how I would feel.
Yeah, I mean, we all know it's well documented about Bullock's big time hatred and dislike for Bayley, especially with the nickname, but and everything else. But yes, Bullock.
Yeah, it's going to make me hate him even more.
I understand
because
but
the Boston Hug connection will have all the gold,
like the 2-man power trip back in the day. Remember what Heyman infamously said after they won. He who has the power has all the gold. And God forbid if they put Sasha over Asuka. Oh boy, this could end up leading to possibly another women's it could end up leading to an even bigger women's match down the road if they decide to finally pull the trigger on it. But I don't know what else there is to say. But the match was, okay, 2.5 stars. It's just for me. No big surprise that Bayley and Sasha won, but MF, I mean, Mr. SmackDown, I mean, you're obviously salivating at the thought. I mean, think about this. Sasha beats Asuka. The Raw Women's title becomes exclusive to SmackDown? No, I can't have that.
Dude, Oh, how the tables have turned, Mr. Florio. About a year or so ago, I was all down in the dumps, thinking how SmackDown needs to recover. We're down. We're getting lit. Raw's doing so much better. NXT's doing so much better than SmackDown. This thing on Fox is turning into a colossal collapse, and it's not working. And what the heck? Oh my! Look at what has happened in the last few months. AJ Styles, Intercontinental Champion, who went from Raw to SmackDown. Now we might possibly be gaining another belt. The Raw Women's title could be in our camp on Team Blue. I mean, it would be absolutely glorious. It would be wonderful, yes. I would absolutely lose my mind. I don't even know how I would, I don't even know what to think. I would literally would just be like, it would be one of those moments. Florio, you know the moment. I would absolutely collapse. Oh no, get up, I can't. Get up, I can't. Because I would not be believing this. I would absolutely be losing my mind because of the fact that SmackDown, the land of opportunity, could garner a title that is very near and dear to Florio's heart, because we all know that the Raw Women's title is the WWE Women's Championship. That's the Holy Grail.
Yes, it is.
That's the belt that was unified. Remember, when all this started, before SmackDown got their own belt, Raw was considered the belt to have. It was considered the title. Imagine what would happen if that belt comes to the land of opportunity on Friday nights and becomes exclusive to us. Oh!
What a black day that would be.
Oh, it would be such a day. It would be such a beautiful moment. I mean, I would be in tears. I would legitly be in tears of joy to see Bayley, the boss, once again running the title with that belt. And it also opens the door
for a huge winner-take-all match.
For a possible unification. That's absolutely correct.
They could pull the trigger.
Whoever wins between Bayley and Sasha, they would become exclusive to both brands until somebody loses the belt. Think about that. And think about this. Michael Bullock, imagine this. Bayley, undisputed women's champion. She could truly be Bayley 2 belts, because she would not only have the Raw Women's title, but the SmackDown Women's title, which means she would be allowed to jump week to week on 2 shows with the title. Think about that, Bullock. I know there's no love lost with you and Miss Bayley. We get it. But imagine that. You get to see her twice a week. You love her so nice that you get to see her twice.
Beyond debatable.
Beyond debatable.
I don't want to see this. I don't want to have to deal with her the egotistical side of if that happens.
Oh, tomato there, Bullet. Come on, man. You got to be more appreciative. I mean, you're talking about right now,
I
one
don't
of the
have to be
best SmackDown Women's Champions we
I
had.
don't have to be appreciative of anything.
Okay. All right. To each his own. I mean, your loss because it might happen. You don't know, but it is what it is. And don't worry, folks. This is just me channeling my little heel. So I'm not. We're not fighting for real. So just so everybody knows, this is what happens on Monday Night Raw when the three of us get together.
Indeed.
Now you see the real side of us coming out. But nah, it'd be great if Sasha wins it. It opens the door for maybe a possible unification winner take all. That would be absolutely phenomenal, man. That would be a history making moment. And I think WWE really needs to make these kind of moves now because, with everything going on, with, like you said, Corona Mania running wild, there hasn't been that many events outside of Florida. They got to make these events worth our time, and this would be a great way to do it. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Maybe not. I think with Sasha going after the title, I could see where Bayley screws up and Sasha just implodes after that. That's possible. But there's also the back thing in the mind, and Anthony, you brought it up. What if Sasha wins it all? Now you got the Raw Women's title and SmackDown Women's title exclusively to SmackDown Live. I mean, that would be great for me. I know it sucks for you, but
it would.
Something tells me it ain't gonna happen, but you never know. All right, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, my gut's telling me that Asuka will somehow find a way to get it done, and we'll have to wait and see on that. Anyways, moving on. Bullock, did you get your thoughts on the women's tag team title matchup? Bullock?
I don't think I did.
Floor is yours.
Yeah. What did Fletch give it?
We rated it 2.5. 2.5, teetering on 3, but morally 2.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it about 2.5, which seems right. So there's really nothing more to say. Yeah. So did Dee Dee already talk about it?
She led off.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah. So then we had the VIP lounge with well, actually there was a backstage segment where Liv Morgan was sad about her loss to Natty, and then Ruby Riott approached her. Maybe there's something along the lines. Who knows? Maybe there could be a Riot Squad reunion down the road. You never know. But anyways, VIP Lounge MVP, his guest was the United States Heavyweight Champion Apollo Crews. He tried to basically recruit Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews said no. And then Shelton and Benjamin came out, and it led into a match with Apollo Crews and Shelton Benjamin. Apollo Crews wins the match 2 minutes and 10 seconds. But then Bobby Lashley came out, and Bobby Lashley put Apollo Crews in the full Nelson. And I'll tell you, the MVP and Crews storyline, it's starting to work. I mean, with Dolph Ziggler getting the shot at McIntyre at Extreme Rules, and now this, it appears that Bobby Lashley is already out of the WWE Championship picture, and instead could be going after Apollo Crews in the United States Heavyweight Championship. So we'll have to keep an eye on that situation. Then we had our closing segment of the night, Rey Mysterio, along with son Dominic. They called out Seth Rollins and the Minions, and then all hell breaks loose here. Murphy comes out, Theory comes out, and then Humberto Carrillo and Aleister Black show up, and then the Mysterios tried to do to Seth Rollins what Seth Rollins did to Rey Mysterio's eye several weeks ago. You know, ramming that eye into the corner of the steel, that sharp corner of the steel steps. But then the heels got the advantage, and then they were trying to do and then it looked like Seth Rollins was about to do the same thing to Dominic Mysterio. But then Carrillo and Black made the save, and all hell broke loose here. So final angle was a good one with some back and forth moments. Rollins was outnumbered this week, so it'll be interesting to see if he has another recruit to even the sides. And I think we're looking at a possible 6-man at Extreme Rules, maybe, with Rey Mysterio, Humberto Carrillo, and Aleister Black against Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, and Austin Theory. Maybe Dominic Mysterio could be in his father's corner there. So it was a simple yet mostly effective segment. For a moment, it actually felt like Rollins was going to successfully pierce the eye at Dominic to escalate things with Rey. That would have been a red-hot angle and maybe yet to come. If there was one problem, it was the disappointing use of Aleister Black. His aura was essentially shot. He became just another guy thanks to booking that has been widely inconsistent from the moment he was called up to the main roster. In a perfect world, this would be a star-making program for him. Instead, he is a chair-wielding sidekick for Rey, a role that I think he's certainly above. But nitpick aside, a very good way to close out the show. So nothing more to say. MF, a lot of craziness there at the end. I think we're looking at Mysterio, Black, and Carrillo against Rollins, Murphy, and Theory, possibly in a 6-man at Extreme Rules. Maybe a gimmick match, maybe?
Possible, and that would be an enjoyable 6-man tag team match if that actually happened. So no, this was a good closing segment for Monday Night Raw. This was, as you said, chaotic. It was all over the place. That's as good as you could have done it, and I thought everybody played their roles very well. So no, I loved it. I thought it was enjoyable. It was awesome. Nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, it's yours, man.
Yeah, I thought it was a good segment to basically close out the show. I mean, I think we could definitely have a 6-man maybe somewhere down the line. So yeah, there's really nothing more that needs to be added for BD Woods and Achievement.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with everybody's comments. This is definitely a good way to end the show. Definitely sticking with storyline building here for the 4, or well, I guess it's 5 of them if you count both of the disciples. So yeah, there's not much more I'm going to add. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, let's get into our final thoughts on this championship Monday edition of Monday Night Raw. MF, I mean, unlike last week, which was an absolute dumpster fire, I mean, this was not overwhelmingly better, but it was definitely better.
It was definitely better, and I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I thought it was all right. Yeah, there was a lot of cutouts, but as far as where we were to where we are now, definite major improvement over last week. I mean, it was above better show. It was more enjoyable. I liked it. I enjoyed how this played out. And at the end of the night, it was solid for what it was worth. So no, I thought they did a very good job, and I got nothing else to add. So yeah, good show. 6 out of 10. That's it. Mike Bullock is yours.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is definitely a much better show than what we saw last week. I mean, I'll give it about a 6 out of 10 as well. I mean, if we were rating it, so I agree with everything Fletch just said. So there's really nothing more to add. So Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, this definitely was a better show than what we had last week. And yeah, there's a lot more story building on this one and everything. So yeah, I'll agree. A rating would have been 6 out of 10. So not much more I'm going to add. So good night, guys.
All right, good night, Dee Dee. We'll see you Wednesday for Wednesday Night Mayhem. And yeah, for me, I agree. About a 6.5, maybe at the absolute best. Good edition of Raw, with a few title matches, some interesting storyline developments. It was definitely a newsworthy show. Charlotte and Asuka steal the show again. What else is new? The tag title matches. The men's title match was a little better than the women's, but both were good. Those were the only 3 good matches on the show, and then throwing some very good in-ring segments and the whole 9 yards. And unfortunately, we had another we had a lot more of the filler, which, you know how I feel about that, beyond a trifle unnecessary, but you know, it is what it is on that regard. And so really nothing more to say here. Let's get into Impact Wrestling for last week. Of course, unfortunately, some disturbing news coming out this evening. Impact Wrestling has terminated and fired both Joey Ryan and Dave Christ. They've both been released. They've been fired from Impact Wrestling. MF broke the news to me in our private chat there. So MF broke it, but then again, I had heard some rumblings about it beforehand. MF, did you want to address this?
Well, I didn't really want to address it, but it is something that has been addressed. Derek Ferreira kind of alluded to it on his video. I kind of touched on it briefly last week on Cerebral Smack Talk about the speaking out that's been happening, where a lot of individuals are being outed for very, very, very major league allegations of physical, mental, well, not physical abuse, but definitely of the sexual harassment in the workplace, I think is what you call it, more than anything else. But like I said, it's been being hit, and it's being felt on not just companies like Impact, WWE, AEW, New Japan's dealing with it now. With a couple of the international superstars like Will Ospreay is being implicated. So Joey Ryan has been a lightning rod for a little while now. Dave Christ, this is the first I knew about Dave Christ. I knew about Joey Ryan because there was a lot of allegations about him being thrown around. He was easily one of the biggest targets. And the thing is that apparently a lot of it is true. Unfortunately, it is true. From some backhand information that I found out from personal people that I know in the wrestling business, apparently there is some very shady business that he has done. And as far as Michael Elgin goes, there's some rumors has been suspended.
So that's big. Now, I'm sorry to interrupt him, but a question, an immediate question comes to mind. How long is the suspension for? And if it's long enough, has Michael Elgin in effect been removed from that big Slammiversary main event?
As of now, he's been suspended indefinitely. As of now, he will not be a part of the five-way until an investigation has been completed by Impact Wrestling. As of now, he's suspended. He could be fired, retroactive. It's almost the situation that happened with Jimmy Havoc. As many of you guys know, Havoc has been suspended as he's going to rehab, and his employment is up in the air with AEW. So right now, he's in Jimmy Havoc's situation. He's been suspended pending investigation, and it could escalate where he could be kicked out of Impact Wrestling. And the funny
What a damn
thing
shame.
is, and the funny thing is that a few years ago there was rumors about him having something in Ring of Honor that prevented them from re-signing him. WWE wanted Michael Elgin, heard about the baggage, and said, no, we're not going to sign him because of this. That's why he ended up going to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I think if everything holds true and if what I'm hearing is right, I think Elgin might soon be on his way out of Impact Wrestling.
What a damn shame.
And like you said, that would be a devastating blow to Impact because, like you said,
and his own career as well. Because I'm going to tell you right now, MF, my gut was telling me that Michael Elgin was going to walk out of Slammiversary, the next Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. I really felt it.
Yes,
but obviously. Yes. But obviously, that's going to be off the table now, pending a Matt Riddle, situation, where Matt Riddle ended up getting lucky. But
it looks like Matt Riddle. But unfortunately, I hate to say this, but the Matt Riddle situation might not be going away. And as a matter of fact, there's some new evidence that actually might have just contradicted Riddle. Where we thought that the accuser was lying and everything else, there might be more to the story than what meets the eye, that Riddle might actually be in trouble after all. So Riddle, it went from we thought he was safe and unscathed, all of a sudden there's some new evidence coming, and it's pretty damning. It's I'm not saying it's bad. It looks bad. Hopefully he'll be able to get through this wave, but this one, the rip tide or the rip current is a little more heavier. This one, the first wave was not bad. The second wave looks a little like, he's gonna have to really fight for this one now. So we'll see.
Yeah. So what I was alluding to was the main event of Slammiversary, which was announced a couple of weeks ago. Tessa Blanchard scheduled to defend the World Heavyweight Championship, and it was supposed to be a 5-way elimination match with Michael Elgin, Eddie Edwards, Ace Austin, and Trey Miguel. But with Elgin obviously suspended and, pending, some sort of a miracle here, it looks like, for all intents and purposes, Elgin's going to be removed from that match. And it'll probably be now a fatal 4-way with Tessa Blanchard, Eddie Edwards, Ace Austin, and Trey Miguel. And if that's the case, I think Ace Austin just might have benefited from this, because I think with the way they've been pushing Ace Austin lately, I think I could easily see Ace Austin possibly becoming the next World Heavyweight Champion. What do you think, MF?
I think it's a very good chance that we could see Ace, but I'm gonna say right now, unless, well, no, I don't think it's too soon. I think it would be a great moment for Ace, and I think Ace would deserve it. But right now, the hottest thing on Impact Wrestling, I think the best thing to do is keep the belt on Tessa, unless there's something down the line where either A, her contract's running out, B, she might be getting ready to get married to Daga, which we already know that they are engaged, but we don't know when that's actually happening. And I would keep a very close, watchful eye on her contract situation, because if it starts to run out, I already know for a fact that AEW is sniffing around and they want her bad. So if you're Impact Wrestling, you try to lock her up as long as you can, because AEW has already made it very known, and as a matter of fact, Brandy Rhodes has made it very known she wants Tessa Blanchard in AEW.
Man, that's definitely a lot to think about there, no doubt about it. And if any more news, comes out, MF and I will most certainly keep you folks up to date as soon as we receive anything. But let's get into the business at hand here. The Tony's Take, the latest edition of Impact Wrestling, once again from the Skyway Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, on Access TV. Well, for me and those of you who have Access TV, or with MF, and those of you who have Twitch, we started it off. World Tag Team Championship matchup. The North, Josh Alexander, Ethan Page defending against the Rascals, Zachary Wentz and Desmond Xavier. Winners of the match in 13 minutes and 47 seconds, and still the World Tag Team Champions, the North. This was the fight of the night, 3.5 stars. Great match to kick off the show. The North worked really well against the Rascals, and they put together a well-executed bout that was able to tell a story without rushing it, but still had some good fast-paced action spots. Very well done. Easily the fight of the night. Knockouts action. Kimber Lee went up against Nevaeh. Nevaeh making her in-ring debut. And Nevaeh won the match, 4 minutes and 34 seconds, 1 3/4 of a star. Decent enough for the limited time they had. A couple of awkward transitions in there that hurt things, but it accomplished what it had to do. So, and then after the match, Nevaeh and Havoc got into an altercation with Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, who were actually sitting in the crowd. So we'll see what happens there. Rhino against Rohit Raju. Rhino wins in 4 minutes and 4 seconds, 2-star match. It was a solid little bout. Didn't get much time, but still gave both guys some time without seeming rushed or haphazard. The quote-unquote TNA World Heavyweight Championship matchup, Moose against John Hernandez. Moose retains in 6 minutes and 9 seconds. Another 1 3/4 stars. The match played to both men's strengths, but never really got off the ground. It was slow, a little bit plodding, few too many repetitive moments. Reno Scum against Triple XL. Reno Scum in 4 minutes and 24 seconds. This was the worst fight of the night, 1 star. The match was just lacking all around, in addition to being too short to mean much of anything beyond a bit of TV time for both teams. And then the main event was a street fight, Eddie Edwards against Ace Austin. It was Ace Austin winning the match, 16 minutes and 20 seconds, 3 stars. Pretty typical street fight with a couple pretty nasty spots, particularly the neck breaker. These kinds of matches suffer a bit more without a crowd than most. Street fights play well off of an audience for the wow factor. Fine ending, and I appreciate how hard Impact is getting Ace Austin over. It's just not quite as good of a match as it could have been in a different environment. Second best fight of the night. Next week on the show, Taya Valkyrie will go one-on-one with Susie. I'm thinking, well, it's supposed to be Cancel Culture against Crazy Steve and 2 mystery opponents. I'm not sure how they're going to do that match with the Ryan news. Willie Mack and the Deaners against Chris Bay, Johnny Swinger, and a mystery partner of their own. That's all there is to say for next week. 6 out of 10 for this show. This show had more matches, which is good. We have more relative highs, but also more relative lows. The middle of the show dragged a bit, but the hot opening and closing bouts are worth watching, and they're going out of their way to make Deonna Purrazzo look like a star. And all in all, not as good as the previous couple weeks, but far from unwatchable as well. So nothing more to say on that. 205 Live, we had Oni Lorcan against Chase Parker. Oni Lorcan in 5 minutes and 6 seconds. It was an average match that Lorcan run rather easily. I'm waiting for them to turn those guys loose, but instead it's the same match with partners interchanged. At least Lorcan won more decisively, so a 2-star bout. Jake Atlas against the gentleman Jack Gallagher, which obviously was Gallagher's last match in WWE. And Jake Atlas won in 8 minutes and 39 seconds. Pretty good in the best match. One of the best matches of this era here. Gallagher brought the intensity and heavy strikes while Atlas countered with his high speed and flying. The ending came out of nowhere, but again, I'm glad we didn't have any roll-up finishes here. 3 1/4 stars for that. Good show, thanks to the main event, and it's always an easy watch now that they've trimmed it all the way down to 30 minutes. So very pleased about that. So with all that being said, before we put the bow on this, let's quickly set the table here. Before I give it to MF, we have what we can expect on. Well, we all know when it comes to NXT, we all know what the big match is. The big triple threat match: Keith Lee, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, triple threat match, NXT North American Championship. The winner will go on to challenge Adam Cole for the NXT Championship with their North American title on the line in a big winner take all title for title bout July 8th, which will go head to head with Fyter Fest Night 2. So, but nonetheless, MF, that's the big selling point for NXT. AEW. The only thing I do know some things. I'm trying to find all the notes, but while I find it, set the table for Wednesday Night Mayhem. Usual time, I'm sure.
Usual time, 10:30 Eastern on Racefan 95 on YouTube.com and right here on StreamYard as always, as we will be recapping NXT and AEW. And like we said, this is the go-home show for Fyter Fest for the 2-week event, and NXT has that triple threat match as well, and it's also setting up for a big event on their end. It looks like July 8th is going to set up as a massive night to the week 2 of Fyter Fest, and it looks like maybe, just maybe, we could have ourselves another takeover like NXT free television event. So this could end up being a fight for the ages, a battle for the ages on this Wednesday Night War. So we'll wait and see. So yeah,
I have the AEW. Yep, I got the AEW set up. Well, there's one thing that we know will not be happening. Originally, Sammy Guevara was scheduled to go up against Matt Hardy, but obviously that's not going to happen because more news broke. Sammy Guevara has been suspended without pay from AEW, so we'll have to wait and see what they do with Matt Hardy. But what we do know is Luchasaurus will go one-on-one with Wardlow in a lumberjack match. Mr. Brody Lee and Colt Cabana will go up against Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, random match if there ever was one. FTR against the Natural Nightmares, Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall. John Moxley will be in action. And we're going to have a face-off with Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. And I also heard that Cody Rhodes has scheduled some sort of a press conference segment with him and Jake Hager ahead of their TNT bout for Fyter Fest. So that's the setup for AEW. And the only thing we know for NXT is that big main event. But all right. So with that's being said, that will put the bow on this very long edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for hanging with us all this time. We appreciate it as always. Best fans in the world, no doubt. Wednesday night, 10:30, MF will be with you. He will host Wednesday Night Mayhem with all of us. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait for it. And then Friday night, of course, Friday Night SmackDown. Cerebral Smack Talk with Friday Night SmackDown. Maybe a Mikey's Mindset. We'll see. And then we do it all again with Raw next week. So until Wednesday night, from Wednesday Night Mayhem, it's Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and of course, always and forever, Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night, from Wednesday Night Mayhem with MF, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.